You are coming off back-to-back Southland Conference championships in only your third season as the head coach. Did you expect this much success to come so quick?
Well, I don't know if I expected it, but we certainly dreamed about it and shot for it. So even though it's my third year as head coach, I've been here for going on 8 years now. And so our systems of play, offensively and defensively never really changed. A former coach, Steve McFatrich, is a friend of mine, and he said, if you come up here, you get to do whatever you want. And so I got to run my systems of play then, and I still do it now. And so it wasn't that big of a leap from going from assistant coach to head coach. So I had high expectations, and I think our players built into the philosophy of hard work and dreaming big, and so it's worked out really, really well.
This season was obviously your best of the three. You went undefeated in Southland Conference play, and you only went into the fifth set once in the Southland Conference. Did you have a good feeling about this season in August?
I really did. We scheduled tough 2 years ago when we went 30-5. This past year we scheduled tougher and we went 29-4. I had a good feeling, especially after the first match of the season, because we beat Kansas, who was number 9 in the nation, and we beat them pretty good. We beat them 3-1. We played really, really well. We played Pac-12 Arizona the very next match and lost to them, and I didn't think we played very well. So I knew we were going to be very, very difficult to beat, and so we just kind of got on a roll once the conference season started, and it's the things our players have accomplished have never been accomplished before in the history of the conference, to be honest with you. They were 20 games consecutive in the conference where we went where we didn't go 5 games in a set, and so some incredible milestones, not only for us here at UCA, which we want our entire student body to be proud of, but in the conference history too. I mean, it just hasn't been done before. And so the 21st match of the year was the finals of the Southland Conference tournament, and we were down 0-2, and that hadn't happened the entire season. And so there were a couple of interesting talks, and so our girls came out in the third game against Northwestern State and beat them pretty handily, 25-13, and then in the fourth game we won 25-14, and in the fifth game it was 15-12, and I wasn't surprised at all, as our team battles, our players play hard, and they really, really wanted to win.
You touched up a little bit about it, but opening the 2013 season against Kansas, you did win, and that was in the University of Arizona tournament. Mm-hmm. Describe the momentum that win gave you guys for the rest of the season.
It gave us incredible momentum. I mean, we, a lot of people, a lot of fellow coaches look at me kind of crazy when they find out who I schedule. And I've got all the faith in the world in our players and our coaching staff, and we're not going to shrink back from anybody. And that's just my plan and philosophy, and everybody's bought into it. And if we win, great. If not, you will definitely remember Sugar Bear volleyball. When we won that first game against Kansas, ranked number 9 in the nation, who ended up being in the Sweet 16 in the NCAA tournament last year, several of us had tears in our eyes. There were tears of joy because we just put down a pretty highly ranked team, and so it gave us incredible momentum. When we played that match, we weren't afraid to go up against Penn State, who won the national championship, and Marquette, who was 11th in the nation, that we probably should have beat in retrospect. But an incredible amount of momentum for winning that game.
The Sugar Bears did nothing short of dominate during the regular season, again going undefeated and not having that fifth set till the Northwestern State championship game. Were you worried that the magical season was going to come to an end in that fifth set?
I really wasn't. In a situation like that, you're kind of in the moment. What can we do to turn this thing around? And I don't think worry ever crept in. It was an incredible season. Had Northwestern State beat us in the long run, nothing would have taken away from the fact that our players worked their tails off to get to 29 wins. Mm-hmm. And so you really can't worry in a situation like that. We're a play-by-play, contact-by-contact team. Our coaches are in tune to before every single play, offensively and defensively, as to what we're going to run, what we're going to try. And so we're just thinking, all right, how do we get out of this? And how do we get our mojo going? And once we got our mojo going, it was like boom time, it was just crazy. It was so much fun. And then at the very end of the match, one of the things that you say worry, one of the things that probably worried me a little bit is one of our first team all-conference middle blockers, Alicia Dietrich, went down. Mm-hmm. I thought she broke her ankle. And there's a picture floating around somewhere of me holding her hand while she's on the court laying down. I'm like, this girl is down.
Yeah.
And so later on in the match, we call her Deech. All of our players have a nickname. Later on in the match, I thought she was out for good. And she's really good at what we call random play. Mm-hmm. And it was like 13-11 in the fifth game, us. And I was thinking, boy, I wish I had Deech right now because she's good at random. And I turned around and looked at the end of the bench where she normally is sitting, mm-hmm. and she's right behind me. And I saw her, and I'm like, can you go in? She goes, yeah. Boom, she goes in. And the very next two plays were random. It was perfect, mm-hmm. and she ends up getting involved. We score 2 points and win the match. And so the only worry came when one of my kids was injured, and I thought it was pretty bad.
Central Arkansas was able to advance to the NCAA tournament, and they were swept by Purdue. But this is the second time in 2 years that they did advance. What has that meant to your program?
Well, it's meant, I don't know that I could put it into words because nobody's done it in the nation, to be honest with you. We've only been eligible for the NCAA postseason for 4 years, and we have gone to the NCAA tournament the last 2 years. The first year we end up playing number 9 Washington at their place in front of 5,000 people, and what a great opportunity. And we were a number 4 seed in that region. Last year, we ended up being a number 3 seed in the region, and we faced the number 2 seed Purdue, who was a buzzsaw out of the Big Ten. Just the idea that we made it, and we've gone 59-9 the last 2 years, which really is the second most amount of wins in all of Division I the last 2 years. It's meant a ton to our program, but what's happening around the nation, we're finding, is people are like, what the heck's going on down there at UCA? I had a coach call me this week from the East Coast, and he goes, you're my model. You're my model.
Wow.
I want to do what you guys are doing. Mm-hmm. And so, it's meant a ton to our program, but it's meant a lot for us from a recruiting standpoint, and it's meant we've made an impact in the volleyball world because people are starting to take notice. Central Arkansas, to be honest, in the last 2 years, there have been, 80,000 people have seen the University of Central Arkansas posted at the NCAA Women's Volleyball Final Four as making the NCAA tournament. 80,000 people see that in the last 2 years. So the exposure that we've gotten for this school is it's really immeasurable, I got to tell you. It's been great.
Yeah, that's so impressive. While you were at the NCAA tournament the past year, what was the biggest difference that you saw between Central Arkansas and Purdue?
The first thing that jumps out at you is Purdue is big. And we've historically not been big. We're going to get bigger. We've got some players coming in that are 6'2", 6'3", but their size was the biggest difference. That doesn't matter to us because we're always the smallest team. We've been the smallest team in the Southland Conference. In my 7 years here, I think we're always the smallest or one of the 2 or 3 smallest teams. But Purdue comes from the best conference in the nation. The Big Ten is better than the Pac-12 now in women's volleyball, and so they play tough matches every night. And it's not a surprise that 6 out of the final Sweet 16 teams came from the Big Ten. And so, did we play our best? No, we didn't. Would we like to play it over again? Absolutely, because it wasn't our best effort, and it was frustrating. It's frustrating to our players. It's frustrating to our coaches. Frustrating to me. We didn't put our best foot forward, but to be quite honest with you, that's what makes us work so hard right now to try to go back. We love going to the NCAA tournament. Being in the NCAA tournament is huge for us as a program and huge for the University of Central Arkansas. It really is.
Now that you've made it 2 years in a row, sometimes when we ask coaches about their program, we ask them, how often do you think that they're going to make it routinely in the Southland tournament? But how often do you think that it's just going to be a normal thing for Central Arkansas to make it to the NCAA tournament?
Well, I'd love for it to be an every year normal thing. I mean, that's our goal, to be honest with you. Our goal is to get to the NCAA tournament and start to make some noise. And we are working so hard to make that happen. I'd love to be able to say, hey, it's going to happen every year. It's impossible for it to happen every year. But what we're trying to do is to schedule, we lost 6 seniors this past year. 4 of them were starters. And our schedule this fall is harder than last year's schedule, because I'm not about to let our players think that I don't have the faith and confidence in them to go out there and kick some butt. We're not going to. Did we lose some great players? We lost some great players. 2 of them are going to go to Europe and play professionally. But, we've got to play those teams early in the season, because we have to try to build our RPI, our ranking. And then if we have a hiccup or a misstep in the Southland Conference tournament or during the season, then we hopefully will have a high enough RPI so that we can become the first ever at-large team from the conference to get a berth in the NCAA tournament. And so that's our goal, and that's what we strive to do.
You kind of talked about the seniors that you are going to miss next year, but the catalyst of the team for the past few years had to be the Southland Conference Player of the Year, Marissa Collins. How much has she meant to the team as her time as a Sugar Bear? Immeasurable. She was, a lot of people don't know this, and I tell this story a lot. She was a second-team high school setter and a backup high school, a backup setter in club as well. And I remember watching her and looking at her and recruiting her and checking off on her, and I'm thinking, this is weird. I don't get this. The other setter was very, very good too. But she came in here from day one, and we kind of hit it off, and she was very, very coachable. We had to change a lot of things because our systems of play are different. And I said, MC, we call her MC, I don't want you standing there, I want you standing here. And I don't want you this close to the net, I want you this far from the net. And this, I don't want you to set the ball this high, I want you to set that high. And so she's like, whatever you want. And so her characteristics, great leadership, great job of running the floor, great job of communicating with me about who the options are in the very next play. Good defensive player, so good and improved so much in the last 4 years. 2 years ago, her junior year, she was 3rd in the nation in assists. And to give you an idea how great that is, there are about 700 Division I setters, and she's 3rd. Wow.
And then last year, she was 6th in the nation in assists per game. And, it makes sense. She's got a professional contract waiting for her to play in Europe, and we're trying to help her get that worked out now. But we got to move on, and we're going to miss those young ladies, not just for what they did on the court, but we love them. They're family, and they're friends, and we're excited that we can kind of let them go and let them go help a couple of other teams, professional teams, or in the workforce or whatever. And so all of the seniors that we're losing, we're like, we want you to be great. We want you to be great. And if you leave here and you go play pro volleyball, great for you. And we want to help you get there. And if it's not that, we want you to be a great mom or a great lawyer or a great whatever it is. It doesn't matter to us. Just in your 4 or 5 years here, we want to help you be great in whatever you're going to be pursuing after you leave here. And so is it sad to see them go? Yes. Are we excited to see what they can accomplish? Absolutely we are. But we've got another setter now that's understudied Marissa for 2 years. Her name is Amy South from Houston, Texas. And Amy has done a fantastic job for us this spring. She's getting a really good grasp of the offense. In fact, she's done it for 2 years, and she's scrimmaged and won her fair share of battles the last 2 years. So we have full confidence in Amy for this fall, and we're excited. We kind of wish the season would start tomorrow, or at least I do.
Well, knowing that Amy is going to fill in Colin's position, how have the other 5 seniors leaving, how has that affected your recruiting to fill their spots?
Well, that's a great question. So on the right side, we had first-team all-conference player Jessica Nagy from Carleton, Michigan. And, you know, what a pleasure coaching her. I mean, just from her freshman year, she came in as a middle blocker. She ends up as a first-team right-side player. She's got a professional opportunity to play in Europe as well. So it just goes to show you how sorely she was going to be missed, or is going to be missed. But so one of our recruiting goals is, you know, we had Amy to replace Marissa. We needed somebody to replace Jessica Nagy. We call her Jag. And so we had to search high and low for a player to replace Jag. And I can talk about her now because she just signed yesterday, and her name is Megan Nash. She's from Oakville, Ontario, Canada. And we fully expect Megan to come in here and pick up right where Jag left off. She's a tremendous talent, and we're excited about her and our other incoming freshmen as well.
That must be a northern thing, that position.
Yeah.
She's from Michigan.
There's a lot of them up there. And, you know, interestingly enough, we played Penn State, the national champion, last year, and we gave them all they wanted the first 2 games. And their coach afterwards said, he said, "Come here, I'm going to talk to you." He goes, "Your players play hard." And he goes, "You guys are more of a professional team than we are." He goes, we have set systems of play, and you guys are running here and going there and doing all this crazy stuff. And he was very complimentary. And he said to me, "You might think about going up and looking at Canada." Well, he didn't know that, but we had already had her commit from Canada. So
yeah.
I don't know, maybe they're taller up there. But we'll see. I want to mention, though, if you don't mind,
Yeah.
we have 4 other seniors that graduated. Paige Gantar was a middle blocker who transferred in last year and fit in like a glove. Before the season was over last year, Paige had a professional opportunity to play in Peru, and she decided to stay here, so she'll be back here this fall. She's working on her master's degree. Kyle Hartman, one of the greatest players in person, people we could ever ask to coach.
It's fun to see her excel, especially at the end of that season. Her playing time kind of drifted off a little bit, but then she came in like a powerhouse those past games at the end.
She was incredible, and we always used to say to Kyle, all of our players have a nickname. Her nickname is Snapper, and I said, "Snap, listen, opportunities are going to present themselves, and when they do, you got to be ready." So one of our current players who hits the ball so hard it looks like an aspirin coming at you, Philani Petties, hits a ball and breaks Jag's wrist. And so Jag has to sit out, and there's Kyle Snapper's opportunity. So Snapper goes in and lights it up. If we don't have her, we don't go undefeated in the conference. So Snapper is pursuing a second degree, and will be here in the stands cheering us on in the fall. And then we've got 2 other players. Beth Rogers, we call her Raji, was an incredible ball controller for us for 4 years. Going to miss that. Love that kid, and just you know.
Always had her pink bow in her hair.
Always, yeah. Pink is her thing. Raji digs pink, so she loves it. It's crazy. Everything she does, even we've got a window box out in the lobby, and hers is filled with pink stuff. But she will be here this fall also, so she's not leaving yet, and she's also competing along with Marissa Collins and Jessica Nagy and former UCA star Chloe Smith. They're all competing, and Autumn Erickson, who played in 2005. So we literally have a UCA alumni team that's playing in the U.S. Open in Phoenix, Arizona in May, and I'll be out there to watch them. The sixth senior, is Megan Elmquist, and what a dream of a young lady. You know, she came in here raring to go and fought health problems off and on for 4 years, but you never hear her complain. She's probably one of the better teammates any coach could ever ask for.
That's awesome. It's going to be really hard to see them leave, but it sounds like you have the recruiting field, and we know that you recruit everywhere across America and now overseas as well. And I know that Is there a transfer coming in? I think I've seen her around campus before.
Yes, we can't mention her,
Okay.
but she becomes what the NCAA refers to as a qualifier. So we can't release any information about her until the grades come out at the end of the semester. Once that happens and she passes, then she becomes a qualifier, and then we can release information about her. But the three recruits that we can talk about are, of course, Megan Nash from Ontario, Canada. Emily Aranda is a middle blocker from Orange, California, and plays in a very, very good club. And she's kind of in the mold of current middle blocker Alicia Dietrich. In fact, I've already asked Deitch to kind of take her under her wing a little bit. And they're very, very similar players. Emily hits the heck out of the ball. She can really thump it. And so she needs a nickname. So, hey, we're going to call her Thumper, starting right now. All right?
Just now.
Yeah, boom.
I'm glad I could be a part of that.
That's it. All right. So you get to be a part of nicknaming. Yeah. So Thumper, Aranda. So she's a good player, gets up really high, touches 10 foot, and what we need, and hits the ball really, really well. We also needed a great ball controller. So we have Shauna Sear from Corona, California. And as a defensive player, she was our most valuable player on our high school team 4 years in a row, and most valuable player, in the all-star team in her league in high school. And so she will help us with ball control a little bit, which is very, very important.
I was fortunate to announce many of the home volleyball games, and alongside my announcing partner, Spencer Griffin, we spoke a lot about the depth that you guys had on the roster. Why is it so important for you to play every single player? I mean, it's amazing that you have the ability to do that.
Well, first of all, it's a great question. Second of all, I do want to mention Spencer. He has been great for UCA volleyball, and we're going to miss him. He's at all the matches. He does a great job covering us, and so whoever replaces him, I'm hoping whoever it is half as good as Spencer, we'll be happy. But you're right, and it's kind of cool that you noticed that we play so many players, because I will tell you this, we play more players than anybody.
Yeah.
And that's our philosophy is not to take a play off. So if we need to get somebody back there for just one play, it might be a serve, it might be for serve reception, we'll do it. We've got a ton of subs to use, and we use more than anybody else. But I think the way we train, the way we do drills, and the way we practice kind of helps us develop depth. And every player that plays for us knows that you cannot be on our team. If we have 14, if we have 16, you cannot play for the Sugar Bears unless you can contribute on the court. Because we're not going to have anybody on our roster that can help us, or that would take reps from somebody else. And so, we try to be 14 deep, and last year we were 14 deep.
We saw what Evie Grace Singleton and Fulani Petties can do as freshmen last year. They really stepped up in some games. Are we possibly going to see the roles of current players increase, especially those younger ones?
Oh, yes, of course, yeah. We couldn't ask for anything more from Fulani and Evie Grace last year. Two, incredible players, but more important, great young ladies. Just incredible. I've coached Evie Grace since she was 13. And so for her to come in here and do what she did in the finals of the championship tournament, she was named ESPN Player of the Match. And she did kind of like what Snapper did. And so opportunity presented itself. She went in there and she delivered. Fulani is just a joy to coach, kind of a joy to mentor, and has some God-given athleticism that you just don't see very often. And just when she gets on it, there's no stopping her. So Fulani started most of the year last year, and Evie Grace kind of had spot duty. But yeah, it's natural for them to, as they come up, to get more and more playing time.
We are still a few weeks away from the 2014 season schedule being released, but can you tell us what we can expect from it?
Sure, absolutely. Like I mentioned earlier, we schedule tough. And last year when I scheduled Penn State, the Florida State assistant said, Dave, what are you doing, man? We don't even schedule them. And I'm like, it'd be fun. Let's go for it. And so we kind of have maintained that same philosophy. So we play Oregon, Pac-12, top 20, first weekend of the year. We play Ohio State, Big Ten, top program. We play LSU. We play Florida State. You know, we're trying to get a midweek match with Oklahoma. That's just kind of who we are and what we want to do. And so the trouble we're having is getting them in here.
Yeah.
It's tough to get them in here. And so what a lot of schools will do is they'll agree to play us, but instead of, and I just want them to return, but they don't want to return, so they give us money. So we take it. So until we can start getting them to return, we're just going to have to take some money. So
it might be a good thing for them, though, because it's pretty hard to win in the Prince Center.
The Prince Center, you know, President Courtway comes to our matches a lot, and he says this when we bring recruits by. We always go over there and take them to President Courtway and try to introduce them to Athletic Director Dr. Teague. And but President Courtway says he thinks this is the greatest place to play college volleyball in the nation. And I don't know if that's completely true. It is a great place to play. It's, you know, an athletic director from our conference flew up here to watch us play to see if he can't copy what we got going on here at their school. And so, you know, we love it. We wish we could get more seats in here, and we're trying to do it. But it is a great place to play, and we're happy with it.
How do you feel about when you guys play in the Ferris Center? Do you wish that sometimes you could host the Southland Conference tournament in here?
Well, you know, we've hosted it the first 2 years, in 2011 and 2012, we hosted in the Ferris. We love playing in the Ferris, especially since there are over 1,000 people in there, and the most we can get in here is 450. But, you know, we like playing over there. If we get a Penn State to come in, and I'm asking them to come in now, or Washington or somebody like that, then we would probably have to move the game over there, although I wouldn't want to. We'd like to play them in here.
Yeah.
We would love playing in the Ferris. It's just we don't do it that often. And so this is home to us. It's home to our players. They have a comfort zone over here. The fans are right on the court. It's just kind of a cool scene over here. It really is. We love it. But, you know, we think the only way to improve the Prince Center would be to figure out a way to keep the ambiance the same, but get more seats in here. And we're looking at every option possible. Just something to get more people in here.
Can Central Arkansas volleyball be a three-peat Southland Championship again this year?
Yes, I think we can. I really do. It's going to take a lot of hard work. It's not easy replacing 6 great young ladies. Two of them were first team all conference, and the third one led the league in hitting, but didn't have enough matches played to be considered in the stats.
Oh.
And because we had Dietrich, Filani Petties, and Paige Gantar all in the middle sharing time. Well, it just so happens Paige led the league in hitting and didn't become first team all conference. So essentially we lost 3 first team all conference players and one of the best passers in the league. So that is tough to overcome. Can we overcome it? Yeah, that's what we're working our tails off trying to do. And that's what we have our sights set on doing. And so as long as we don't play for those things, we kind of have our own mottos and stuff, and one of them is to play for each other. And I think when they do that and they focus on that, we can accomplish a lot. So we're fully expecting to work our tails off every single match and kind of see where it all shakes out.
Well, thank you for joining us today, Coach.
Sure.
I know we kind of took away from your practice time, but I really enjoyed sitting down and talking to you, so best of luck next season.
Thank you so much. Good luck to you.
Thank
Master's
you.
degree. Stay in touch with us.
Thank you.
Thank you.